Welcome into the Rounding Third podcast on a Sunday night this week because Harrison's deciding to leave for Disney tomorrow. So we changed nights on you, but it doesn't matter. The Sox are done. The Bruins are done. So it's just baseball talk tonight. And we have Sean back from his parent-teacher conferences. So how are we doing, fellas?
Yeah, we're doing okay. Happy to be back, boys. Happy to be back.
I don't see any bruises, Sean. Did it go okay?
No, we're okay. No physical bruises. No physical bruises.
No physical bruises.
Yeah.
No physical bruises.
Yeah. Just the
Awesome.
mental scarring.
Yeah.
We're
All right.
back.
We got some stuff to dive into, but first, make sure you follow and like us on Facebook. You can also follow us on Instagram. You can also subscribe on YouTube or listen on Spotify and Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. All right.
And we're now streaming live to you on Instagram, so you can find us there on Mondays too.
That's right. All right. So big news over the weekend. Luis Arraez traded to the Padres for 3 prospects and a relief pitcher. So pretty much nothing. And he just promptly goes 4 for 6 in his debut against the Diamondbacks. I've seen some comparisons to his stats and Tony Gwynn's stats at this point in their career, and they are almost identical. This guy is the ultimate contact machine.
Crazy.
It is crazy to watch him. But does he put the Padres over the edge here, getting an on-base guy in that lineup?
It helps. I mean, getting guys on base helps, man. I mean, it's how you score runs, right? So, I mean, it helps. I'm interested to see kind of how they handle the lineup. Like, is he mainly DHing? Is he, kind of – it's not like he's a Gold Glove second baseman. So, are they trying to – are they playing him elsewhere? Is it just do whatever we can to get the bat in the lineup? Or is he a main kind of DH kind of guy and we stick with Kim at short, Bogey at second? I don't know. I mean, I think that's kind of it'll be interesting to see how they do it. I mean, you got to keep him in. I mean, he's got to hit every day.
Yeah, right.
I mean, he's in the lineup every day.
Yeah.
So
I think he plays the field a little bit here at first because Machado's still coming back from his offseason elbow surgery.
Yeah.
So they're careful with him in the field. So he's going to take your DH spots for a little bit. They might slide Bogey over to third maybe at this point. Or Kim and move Bogey back to short and put Arraez at second, something like that. But I think when Machado comes back in the field full time, Arraez is your full time DH because, like you said, he's not a defensive liability, but he's not great either. So
no, but he's not a guy that you're like, oh, we have to have him in other than Bogarts, Kim, Machado. I mean, Machado when he's ready, he plays in the field.
Right.
Yeah. But I know I wonder, does that make San Diego a little bit more liable to listen to Cronenworth talks? Cronenworth plays everywhere, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What an advantage it could be for again biased, but a team like the Red Sox to maybe just inquire, what's that look like?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the minute he steps as a first baseman, he's going to get hurt because that's what happens with the Red Sox. The first baseman just get hurt. I mean, so we'll see. But I mean, what an advantage that would be.
Yeah.
For a team like Boston, as an example, to be able to kind of, if they were able to make a deal for Cronenworth, I don't know. But it gives them options. It definitely gives San Diego options.
Yeah.
Well, it does. And you look at today. So Arraez played second, Machado played third, Bogarts DH, Cronenworth was at first, and Kim played short. So I think to what Sean was saying is I think you'll see Arraez play a game or two at second, a game or two at first, a game or two at DH, and they'll just cycle these guys through because he's good enough defensively to play a variety of positions, but he's not great at any one of them. Not a liability, but he's an adequate or average defender, and he gives you some flexibility to move around. And so you can give a guy like Bogarts a day at DH, a guy like Cronenworth a day at DH. And you're going to find a way to keep Arraez in the lineup every day because, I don't think he necessarily makes that team complete. He makes them better. I think that lineup's going to be better. I say that and they lost 11-4 today, but it's, that's a team that struggled with being really inconsistent. The one thing he brings is consistent on base and consistent contact. That's going to help that lineup stabilize some. It should help. Does it get them in the playoffs? Probably not, but maybe. He definitely helps them.
They also have another shortstop playing center field for him right now. Jackson Merrill came up.
True.
Yeah.
Right, true.
Well, you got Tatis and Wright.
Yeah, right. And you got Tatis. Their starting 9 was shortstops at one point.
They
in their
have
career.
4 shortstops in the starting
basically.
lineup.
Yeah, you got 4 shortstops, and my immediate reaction was like Sean said. I thought immediately, what does that do to Cronenworth? When you think of an odd man out, Bogarts is that massive contract. He's not going anywhere. Kim is becoming a cornerstone player. Machado's got a huge contract. He's not going anywhere. Cronenworth has 6 years left on his deal, and he's owed something like 60 or 70 million. He's the most movable of the group. What's the market for him? I don't know, but there's a couple of teams, the Red Sox in particular, that could use a first baseman if they want to take that contract, or San Diego will eat some cash in exchange for more prospects. But I think the only guy that's movable in that group is Cronenworth.
So that was the crazy thing about this Arraez deal too, is the Marlins are eating that entire contract, and the Padres are only paying him league minimum.
Yep.
Right.
Absolutely insane.
And the Marlins was a president of baseball operations, whatever they call him, literally came out yesterday and said, yeah, we're not going to make the playoffs, so we're just going to move on and retool. It's like, dude, it's the first week of May and the towel's in, and you're dumping players. I mean, I applaud you for making a quick decision, but wow, that's caving early.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Other news this week: Mike Trout goes out with a meniscus tear, and visibly upset. And I mean, I get it. It's frustrating to get hurt, and especially as much as Mike Trout has gotten hurt. Is Mike Trout the biggest what if ever? And we got some big ones out there.
Definitely in our lifetime, though.
Yeah.
Like, definitely the biggest what if in our lifetime.
You don't think DeGrom's in that category?
Well, sure. But I think you've seen more of Trout to know what he can do. I feel like DeGrom, we've had literally like a season. He's teased you with the talent, but you've never seen him put it together for any length of time. Or at least like Trout, you've seen the guy win 3 MVPs. You've seen him win Rookie of the Year. Like, you know who he is. And the back half of his career has just been a mess.
You got me with DeGrom, because I would say I don't think DeGrom's that much farther off, actually. Yeah. I'd say Trout's probably still the biggest what if, but actually you got me with DeGrom, because I kind of disagree. I do think we've seen enough from DeGrom to say that if he's healthy year in, year out, he's the greatest pitcher we've ever seen. Strikeouts, opponent average. I mean, all that swing and miss. And I don't know if there's anyone with just the raw talent that he has. So I think you have me there. I would still say Trout, but close. Yeah.
See, I think Trout still gets into the Hall of Fame, even with the back end of these injuries in the back end of his career.
Yeah.
And he's still a shoe-in Hall of Famer. I can't say that about Jacob deGrom. His sample size isn't big enough. And I, like you said, probably the most dominant pitcher we've seen in our lifetime. And we've seen some good ones. But
dude, I really don't think it's a question. I think if he's healthy, he is the single most dominant pitcher our lifetime, our generation, we've ever seen.
Yeah. And I mean, you got Pedro, you got Randy Johnson, like you got those guys too. But I mean, when Jacob deGrom is in tip-top shape, he's
another
unhittable.
Level. He's another level.
Agree. So for me, it's 1A, 1B, but I think deGrom takes the cake for the biggest what if currently. Now, what about ever? I mean, we have Griffey's career, right? Griffey's kind of always comes up because it's like, well, if he stayed healthy, he might have had a shot at the home run, the home run crown. We'll never know with him either. So, I mean, yes, I put deGrom over Trout here, but I mean, looking back at other guys that could have been something bigger, but were injury ridden. What do you guys think? Who do you think's the biggest what if
of all time?
Of all time.
Jesus.
I mean, I put Trout in the what if category, but I agree. I think he's a Hall of Famer either way. He's still probably going to be in the upper echelon of all major leaguers, but he could have been that guy that was like the best ever. But when on more of a what if they could have been something, like I look at a guy like Nomar, who has 4 of the 10 best offensive seasons by a shortstop in baseball history. He had 4 of them in 5 seasons. He was arguably your most well-rounded shortstop in baseball, and then he had the wrist things, and then he just kind of fell apart.
Tore the groin right off his hip bone.
Yeah, tore the groin right off his hip bone. Had the wrist issues. Like he had all kinds of stuff that like just took him out. And he was, but with him, it wasn't like I'm going to miss a bunch of time and come back. Like he just never came back. Like he never got back on the field. So like at least like in my memory, I always think of Nomar because he had that massive elite start and then just completely disappeared. And then the other one I think of is Dustin Pedroia. If Manny Machado hadn't have messed up his knee, where does he end up? You know, is he in the Hall of Fame conversation?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's good. Nomar's a good one. Nomar's a real good one because for what he did when he was young, I mean, he was on the trajectory to be the greatest shortstop we've seen.
Yeah.
Like the greatest shortstop we've seen.
Mm-hmm.
And he was up in the same division with Jeter. And I, you guys know I'm a big Jeter guy. I think Jeter's fantastic. You put the numbers side by side, Nomar for that 5-6 years was better than Jeter.
Yeah. In
he was just a better player.
Yeah. In 99, at the age of 25, Nomar hit 357, 27 home runs, 104 RBIs, 418 OBP. Year after that, he hits 372, 21 and 96. And he wasn't even the top 5 MVP votes. Like it's a guy who had an over 1,000 OPS those 2 seasons. And he had some just math. He had 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 out of 7 massive seasons, and 4 of those were the best seasons put together by a shortstop.
Right.
And then his career just completely derails. From 2004 on, his career just derails.
Yeah. It's so hard watching Mike Trout go down again. But I mean, it's like every season now it's like when is it going to happen? It's like
Trout and it's Buxton, and Buxton's right behind him.
Mm-hmm.
He's another one, and I don't.
He's on the IL again already.
Correct. And he's not quite Trout. Like Trout has the accolades already. The MVP is the Rookie of the Year and all that, but just straight up like can't have a healthy season, but when he's healthy, he's dominant. Buxton's there. And it's the same thing. It's crazy. Like, dude, just get me to the All-Star break. He can't even get to the All-Star break.
He can't get out of April.
May.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah. Byron Buxton's a great one. We've talked about him before. Like, he could be a 40-40 guy. But he shoo-in 40-40. Guy hits the ball so hard. He's crazy quick, but he just cannot play more than 5 games in a row without getting hurt. It's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Some other what ifs I'll throw at you guys. What if Ted Williams didn't spend the 3 best years of his career in the military? What if Koufax was able to stay healthy and make it past age 30?
Right.
Willie Mays served in the military too and still hit 660 home runs.
I know. What if he didn't? Just like there's so many interesting what ifs through history that
I don't know. I think the Ted Williams one isn't so much for me. Like the numbers, like he misses, those years and so he doesn't have the hits or the home runs or whatnot. But Ted Williams was the best player in baseball before he served. And then he served.
And
then he came back the next year and he was the best player in baseball again.
Still was.
So I don't think there was never a like, oh, is he going to fall off? Is Ted Williams the what if part just comes from like, what would the numbers look like?
Exactly.
But I mean, he was still the best player in baseball. For my money, still the best player of all time.
Yeah.
I agree. He's still number 1 for me. I think he would be that much farther ahead of everybody. But, another one from our generation is Kirby Puckett. What if Puckett hadn't just lost his vision and been able to continue to play? I mean, he literally, he started spring training and his vision started to go and he was done. Like just kind of woke up and he was gone. Career comes to an end.
Yeah.
And that was a guy who had done some pretty crazy stuff up to that point.
I mean, there's so many. You go back through history, like you said, there's so many. But I think honestly, right now, it's Jacob deGrom's number one, and obviously Mike Trout with the accolades. And he's almost like, stay healthy. What would his total numbers have been? Because you're right. I could the best
kind of
all
like a Ted
around baseball
Williams.
ever. Yeah.
So like you look at DeGrom, and what's amazing to me too is DeGrom. This is DeGrom's 10th season. He's 35 years old. Trout. This is Trout's 14th season. He's 32. Like he's still 3 years younger than Jacob deGrom, and it feels like he's been around forever. DeGrom was a late bloomer. He didn't even get a call up till he was 26. Trout was up in the majors at 19, with the trajectory to be potentially one of the best players, if not the best player of all time, with the way he was running. I don't think it changes his Hall of Fame candidacy, and I agree. I think if DeGrom was healthy for those 10 years, you're looking at a guy who's probably got 40, 50 more wins, and he's, making a run at maybe 200 career wins. But the problem for me with DeGrom is that because he came up so late, his career was going to be just that much shorter. And you're not, even if you maximize every year he had, he might have gotten to like 185, 190 wins. Like you're not looking at a guy who's going to be a 300 winner, probably not even a 200 game winner, which isn't necessarily that big a deal in today's game because you don't see 300 game winners anymore. But, Trout was a guy who was going to rewrite the record books. DeGrom was a guy who was trying to make a Hall of Fame case.
I think the only semi-milestone DeGrom could have reached was the strikeout milestone. He could have easily got 25 to 3,000 Ks in his career if he stays healthy. But
he's got
it's wild.
1,652 Ks in 10 years, and 5 of those years are basically half seasons. So, I mean, he would have been chasing the strikeout record if anything.
And he didn't pitch at all last year, right? Like the first month.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Last year he was. What was he? 2-0.
10 starts, right? 10 starts.
10 starts.
Yeah.
All right. So the end of May he went down.
Yeah. Six starts.
6 starts. Okay. All right. 6 starts.
So about this time last year he went down. But
yes.
Crazy.
The year before that was 11 starts. The year before that was 15 starts.
Damn, man. It's crazy. But it was hard watching Mike Trout take that interview after when he announced that he was having surgery. Like never, he was visibly upset, like frustrated. It's really hard. And as diehard baseball fans as we are, it's hard not watching that guy on the field. Like that's the only reason you tune into the Angels.
Right.
And now we're not going to do that.
And what stinks is like, you look at a guy like Chris Sale, who was like snake bitten by like goofy injuries. You look at a guy like Trout, and it's constantly stuff like a meniscus, a back. Like it's not little stuff. It's not like I banged my finger getting out of the car. It's I tore my meniscus and I'm getting surgery. Yeah. Same with DeGrom. DeGrom, it's always a major shoulder thing, an elbow thing, a Tommy John. Like it's never like my side is sore. I'm going to take a couple weeks off. Like it's never that with DeGrom. It's always something big.
Yeah, it's tough.
And it's a shame because he doesn't like, and not to pick on Chris Sale, but Chris Sale should be the one that has major elbow and shoulder injuries with the way he throws. Yeah. Like DeGrom, like it's fair. Watch the guy throw. It's like that's the way you teach people to throw. Like DeGrom almost has like the perfect delivery.
Yeah.
And yet he can't escape the elbow, forearm, shoulder stuff. It's such a shame.
So. Yeah. So Trout said the surgery, the recovery time's 6 weeks on meniscus, and then it'll take some time to ramp up and come back. So I mean,
it'll be July.
Yeah, but man, it's just tough. But all right, we're gonna move on. Oh, go ahead.
One thing with Trout too, I mean, totally kind of a tangent here, but what would his numbers look like too if he was actually like a legitimate lineup with some support? Now I know he had Shohei with him for a few years, but. And Shohei missed a whole season in there too. But imagine if like he had spent his career as part of an organization like the Red Sox or the Yankees or somebody that actually like built a lineup he could hit in, and he wasn't hitting 10 home runs with 13 RBIs. Like, what would it look like? What if he actually played somewhere that wasn't terrible?
I mean, I think his home run power doesn't change much, but his RBI totals obviously go up. But I mean, the guy hit 40 home runs in 120 games. Was it last year? The year before?
Last year.
Last year. I mean,
he missed 40 games. He still hit 40 bombs.
You don't even have to pitch to the guy, and he's still going to hit 40 bombs. I mean, if he's got protection around him, does he hit a few more home runs? Yeah, I think so. But even then, like I don't know. I think
like,
just the RBI total goes up.
Yeah, so like 2022, he plays 120 games, 119, hits 40 home runs, drives in 80. 40 and 80. I mean,
that's crazy, dude. That's insane.
It's embarrassing. Like his stats would be would he hit more home runs? Absolutely. Yeah, he'd get better pitches to hit in some cases, but he would have so many more RBIs if there's ever anybody on base in front of him.
Dude, you have to try to hit 40 home runs and only have 80 RBIs.
Right.
Yeah, that was the trivia question I had last week. Schwarber and Soriano hit 46 home runs in a year, and they didn't crack 100 RBIs. It was 94 and 95 RBIs they had.
And Trout's right behind him.
Yeah, crazy.
And was it Soriano with the Nationals, right?
Yeah. And then Schwarber 2 years ago.
Trout's only driven in more than 100 3 times. And in his career, he's got 378 home runs and 954 RBIs.
That is insane. That's so many solo home runs. That's crazy.
It's gross. It's gross. And you got a guy like Marcell Ozuna who had 31 RBIs in the month of April, and that was Trout only got double that in damn near a whole season. I mean, it's mind-numbing to think what his numbers look like if he was in a legitimate lineup.
Absolutely insane.
God damn.
All right, let's get to the wildest series of last week. And for some reason, it was the Brewers and Rays. I mean, not two teams
big
that
rivals.
you would think.
Big rivals. Big rivals.
Yeah, right.
Hatred. A lot of hatred between.
Yeah, Milwaukee, Tampa. Those are definitely
a lot of hatred.
This one is wild. So game one, it is the bottom of the ninth, and the Brewers lose a game on a drop third strike. So what happens is we got second and third, and on the backswing, the batter swings and misses. Catcher drops it. But on the backswing, the bat comes around and hits the catcher in the back of the head. Umpire blows it dead, calls interference, but the runner on third comes across the plate for the tying run. Umpire goes, nope, interference, back to third, and then that runner doesn't score, the Brewers lose. And you look in the dugout, and they're just stunned. Like, it's like we tied this game. Like, what the heck happened? So Murphy gets tossed out of that game because he's arguing that. So let's go to the next game. Next game, we get up, and Jose Siri hits an absolute bomb, pimps it out, whatever. And then Peralta throws at him and hits him and immediately gets tossed. No warnings, no nothing. Umpires just toss him. So Siri comes up again later in the game, hits a little trickler to first base, and Abner Uribe goes over, covers first, gets the out, and then runs by the base a little bit, but then comes back and steps on the base and gives Siri a little shoulder on the way by, and they say something, and then all chaos ensues. Punches were thrown, none were landed.
Punches were thrown. My God.
Yeah.
Punches were thrown.
I mean, I think one landed like the side of a neck, but I mean, they just looked like they were flailing. They weren't.
Nobody was hurt in that fight, but
it was crazy. So, and manager got tossed out again. So the suspensions get handed down. Abner got 6 games. Peralta got 5. Which, I mean, whatever. It's a start. Jose Siri 3 games, and then Pat Murphy, the manager for the Brewers, got a 2-game suspension for detriment attitude towards umpires or something like that.
Basically, he said mean things.
Yeah, so we're gonna suspend him for 2 games. It was just wild, man. I mean, like, it's the Brewers and the Rays, for Christ's sakes. Like, why? It makes no sense to me. But
I don't know, man. But when I saw it, and they're jarring, and you're like, "Oh, look at this little spark," and Uribe just winds up and just right hook across the face, just Siri, like just out of nowhere.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my God.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I mean, who? Is it the pimping of the home run? Like, is that what? Who cares now? It's 2024.
Right.
Who gives a shit?
Right.
They all do it, and that's such hypocrisy for me, because like I don't care what team you're on. I don't care who your manager is. Everyone on every team does it. Everyone does it. So it's like if you're a rebate, like are you swinging on your own boys for pimping home runs? Because if you take a stand, then you take a stand, or do you just not like when someone does it to you? Like it's bullshit. Everyone does it. Like,
and he's not even the one that gave it up.
Correct. But if that's what puts you over the line, like you got to grow up. Like you got to grow up.
I agree. Absolutely crazy.
Crazy.
I think, and we've debated this a few times. I think that there's the Tampa Bay Rays have guys that pimp home runs bigger than anybody. And did you see Arraez today?
Yeah.
I mean, my
games.
God. Like, if you want to hit a guy for pimping a home run, Arraez should be the guy. I mean, the dude's hitting $140, and he just like danced around he danced around the bases like he was friggin' King Kong. I mean, the Rays pimp home runs like nobody's business, and there are teams that are just sick and friggin' tired of it. Why the Brewers decide to get mad about it, who never see the Rays, I have no idea. But I think there are just pitchers in the league who know the MO of these guys. And they're like, I'm done with this crap. I'm just going to drill them, and then it just blew up. But I was watching that first game. I think I mentioned you after the pod.
But they didn't drill him.
Put this on.
But
no,
they didn't drill him. If you're
should.
tired, like if that's what you're going to do, then fine. Then drill him. They didn't drill him. They pitched to him. He grounds out, and then you have something to say. It's like, man, if you want to teach him a lesson and drill him, then fucking drill him.
They did, and Peralta got tossed for it.
Oh yeah, Peralta did. But I'm saying with Uribe, like it's done.
No,
it's done.
that was just talking trash as you're walking away from the base or something. But
Jesus.
And it was probably something stupid like, really, really got a hold of that one tough guy, something silly like that.
Right.
Just to try to make a point. I mean, because you see it all the time. A guy hits a home run, and the next time he strikes out, and he pimps the home run, and the pitcher over celebrates like it's this whole battle of who can show each other up. And I think he just said something and caught him just right, and then they drill him later. But I do think the Rays have that kind of that persona around them that I think people just are more sensitive to what they do. Because Arraez today, if there's ever a case to hit somebody in the friggin' ear flap, that today was a good one, because Arraez kills me that he does what he does and nobody choke slams him after he does it.
Yeah, crazy. All right, let's get on. Since we're on the topic of ejections and stuff like that, Aaron Judge is the first Yankee captain to be tossed out of a game since Don Mattingly. I saw that stat today.
Really?
Yep. So Derek Jeter had no ejections in his career, which is crazy. But Aaron Judge takes a borderline strike 3 call. I mean, I think it was a strike. It was on the outside corner. I mean, either way, whatever.
Close enough. You should be protecting close enough.
Exactly. And he's a good enough hitter that he can, stick that 37-inch bat and slap that into right fielder. Right.
Yeah.
So whatever. But to me, it's not the balls and strikes anymore that I'm going to be getting on these umpires for. It is these soft ass ejections. Aaron Judge is walking back. He turns and he says, that call was bullshit. I don't agree with it. And he starts walking away. And he goes, that was just bullshit. And the ump tosses him. Aaron Judge is not in this guy's face. He's walking away. He's just telling you he didn't like the call. And that's that. And the ump just has the quick trigger. Boom, you're gone. See ya. I'm starting to have an issue. Like I said, balls and strikes, we're going to be talking about that forever. I'm not even going down that road right now. But these umpires need to check their egos at the door and stop just tossing guys left and right. I don't pay $500 to go watch Aaron Judge.
Yes, right.
Right. I go to watch Aaron Judge. And if you're tossing him out in the first inning of a game because he said that call was bullshit, I have a problem with that.
And what if the Yankees lose today and they miss the playoffs by a game? Does that ejection potentially change the entire trajectory of their season? I mean, this is you want to call a ball an inch off the plate. I don't even get that mad about that. As long as you're consistent and it is what it is, I don't expect you to get 100% of them because it's not realistic to do that.
No. And
I don't know the background of what Judge said. Maybe maybe that call wasn't being called all day and that was his argument. But I'm not so much worried about the balls and strikes. You miss them. 6 inches off the plate like Angel Hernandez does, that's a problem. But you miss one that's an inch off the plate, okay, I'm not going to get all that mad about it. But when you toss a guy, I get it. Like if the guy turns and he's barking at you, yeah, okay, maybe after he says a couple of magic words, you throw him out. But Judge literally turned real quick and just said, "That's bullshit." Turned and walked away. Didn't show him up. Barely engaged in a conversation with him. And walked back to the dugout. And his back was turned when he got thrown out. Like that's the part that bothers me. You threw a guy out when he was walking away. The situation was over. It was done, and you kept it going. Right. You, Mr. Umpire, when the situation was done, decided to get the final word in. And that to me is where MLB's got to step in and be like, look, you're in the wrong, and you can go. You get suspended for a couple of days, and Aaron Judge, you're fine. No fine, no need to. But these umpires are just doing whatever the hell they want, completely unchecked. There's no accountability. There's no discipline. There's no structure. They're just doing whatever they want, and they're going to do it again tomorrow. Every week we get on this podcast, and there's 2 or 3 more ridiculous situations we've got to talk about. MLB has to just suck it up and fix the issue. It may cost them a whole boatload of money. It may cost them some bad press clippings, but they got to fix it. You just got to go fix this. You cannot have this crap continue to happen night after night. The quality of the game and the integrity of the game is in jeopardy because these guys are just doing whatever the hell they feel like, and there's nothing stopping them.
Facts.
Yeah. I just don't. I don't know how they go about fixing it either. Like the umpires union is so strong, hence the reason we have 20 guys that have 30 plus years of experience. Like,
you want to know how the airline industry fixed the union problem? They fired everybody and rehired. So maybe in December of this year, you give a pink slip to every freaking umpire and you tell the union goodbye and you hire new umpires. You don't have to have an umpires union. You just don't. Fire them all. Everybody goes. Start over. Wipe the slate clean.
Yeah, I mean, there are some great umpires out there. Do we know their names?
Most of them are good.
Right.
Most of them are good.
Right.
Most of them.
Yeah, it's a typical 80-20 rule. Yeah, it's a typical 80-20 rule. 80% of your problems are coming from 20% of your umpires. That 20% has to go. And if that means they've all got to go and you've got to start over and get these guys to come back differently, maybe you do that.
But you're always gonna have that 20% though. You get rid of those 20%, then the next 20% become the worst umpires.
But now you can do it. You can do what Scherzer said, which is actually start to rank them and demote them.
Right.
Because once you get the union and all their BS out of the way, right now you can treat these guys like anybody else, and the good ones stay, the bad ones go, and you just keep. It's a revolving door at the bottom.
Yeah.
And if you're good, you stay. If you're not, you go.
Yeah.
But I'll say this. I will say, this is the segment of this podcast. Say something positive about umpires. Angel Hernandez, home plate umpire today for the Red Sox and Twins, and he was fine.
Yeah.
Was he perfect? No. But I watched the whole game, and I'm like, you know what? He was fine behind the plate. Yeah. He was fine. Yeah. He was fine. Did he ruin the game? No. Right. Was he perfect? No. But he was fine.
But it's funny because I watched
he can do it. He can do it.
He can.
He can
it's
do
possible.
It.
Yep. It was funny. I was watching game 1 of that series, and Middlebrooks is up in the booth, and he goes, "Oh, we got Angel this series, so we'll see him in 2 days."
Well, and did you guys see the video that's going around? Angel Hernandez was getting booed off the field. It was either late last year or earlier this year. He's going down the tunnel. He stops to kick his shoes off, and people are yelling at him. He just keep, God bless, God bless. He throws a ball up to a kid as he's coming off. He's getting screamed at, but he was completely cool about the whole situation. And people are like, "Thanks, Angel. That was actually pretty cool." He is generally a liked guy. He just is not a good. I shouldn't say it. He's not a consistent umpire. He has really good nights, and he has really horrendous nights. But when you rank him, he may not even be in the bottom 20% when you kind of average it all out. But he's just the guy that gets all the attention because when he's bad, he's really bad.
And he's vocal about it, though.
It's epically bad. Oh, and he sued Major League Baseball. He's got this whole backstory that he's got all this baggage to it. But he is so well liked by the umpires around him and seems like a genuinely nice guy. He just has really bad nights.
Yeah. All right. Before we get into some trivia questions here, we'll discuss the wild ending in the Cubs-Mets game the other night. So I think it was right after the podcast because we were last week that I was watching, and I just threw it on because it was the last game of the night, and it's absolutely wild. So second and third, bottom of the ninth, 1 out. Jeff McNeil hits a fly ball to medium deep left field. Cubs make a perfect relay, throws it into the cutoff man. Cutoff man relays it home to Amaya. So, and Pete Alonso slides in head first. Umpire calls him out at home. Obviously goes to review because they're like, oh, he was blocking the plate. Like, we want to review the call. We just review the whole thing, please. So Amaya sets up. He's standing on home plate, 1 foot in fair territory. So he's giving Alonso part of the plate.
A sliver of the plate, but part of the plate.
Okay, Mets homer, tone down a little bit over there.
I'm just saying, a sliver. He gave me a sliver of the plate.
He did. It's true. So as the ball comes in, he catches it, drops the knee down. And to me, it looks like when Alonso slides head first, his hand pops up a little bit above home plate, and then he slaps it down on home. And while he was in the process of doing that, the tag came in and got him in the back. I thought he was out. But how do you guys feel about the setup of Amaya before?
Oh, I don't have an issue with it. This is all sports. I mean, I know we're talking baseball right now, and it's the rules that these sports put in make things harder for the umpires, and then we, the fans and the media and all that, and then we sit here and we just nonstop shit on these officials for how bad they are. Like, well, you're making their job so much harder. Mm-hmm. Like, you're making them – these plays happen so fast. And you're making them look at 5 different things at once. And then the minute they get it wrong, it's like, replay. We're going to replay. And we're going to talk about how bad you are and how you screwed it up. It's a bad call. And it's like, I don't know, man. Like, with baseball, you're playing defense. The whole point is to defend somebody from scoring a run. Now, I'm not saying stand in front of there but if the ball's on its way and you're making a play on the ball, like, you should be able to be in front of the plate. It's your job. Right. Your job is defending the plate. I think he was safe on the slide. We can get into that, but I have no issue with the way that the catcher was set up. Now, based on the rule, was it catcher's interference? I mean, I think you can make a legitimate case for it, but I hate the rule. I hate the rule. Yeah.
I think you should full on block if the ball's in the air. If the ball's in the air and it's coming to you,
yes.
Full on block.
Full on.
Yeah.
And if the runner gets there first and knocks you out of the way, then that's part of it. Then you were knocked out of the way. He's safe. Right. That's okay.
But they don't want Buster Posey injury.
And I get it. I get it.
And that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
I get it. But I don't like it.
MLB changed the rule around how a catcher can block the plate. And they sent out a memo earlier this year, and I thought it was Fox that shared it. One of them shared it on their Facebook page today, and it showed the 3 scenarios that are considered now to be illegal. And that is with your right foot in front of the plate, your left foot in foul territory, left foot in front of the plate, right foot in fair territory, or straddling home plate without the ball. Because you're not giving a path to the plate. So what he was doing with his foot on the middle of the plate, leaving part of the plate exposed, is technically okay based on the rule. The umpires, I don't think, fully understand the change in the rule because they still viewed that as a foot on the plate and a foot in fair territory, which is not allowed. But the problem is the foot has to be in front of the plate to be blocking the path. So it's not interference, or he's not blocking the way the rule is written. And the rule's absolutely in place to protect guys from injury. They don't want catchers getting their legs taken out. They're trying to avoid collisions at home plate. They don't want players sliding into home plate and jamming up their hands and stuff like that when there is no play. But once the catcher has the ball, he can lay on home plate. He just can't do it before he has it.
Right. And I get all of those things. You're 100%. I hear it. I get it. But you just gave about 3 different qualifications about what a catcher is allowed to do versus not allowed to do. We're asking umpires to take all that information in while looking at 3 or 4 or 5 different things aside from where the catcher set up with his left foot and his right foot. Is it in play? Is it not in play? Does he have this is insane.
And then make the call.
The whole play lasted 3.5 seconds, and he's got to take all that in and make a call on it. Like,
Listen, I think replay does a lot of good things in sports. It does.
It does.
But the problem, to me, with all sports, the problem with replay is it makes it seem, well, whoa, just send it to replay and then we'll get the right answer. But it's not that simple because replay is taking in what the initial call in the field was, and you have to have incontrovertible proof to say that the call in the field was wrong. But what if the rule is so ambiguous, which a lot of these rules are, that the umpire is just doing the best that he can at the particular time, and the replay doesn't really help? Because the replay is like, okay, let's slow it down, let's pause it, let's marry this view with this view. We're going to do it at the same time, split screen, slow motion. Well, we don't know, so we're going to have to stick with the call in the field. Well, the call in the field might be right, it might be wrong, but the fact that we just made it a 4-minute thing, now the umpires look terrible, even though they might have made the right call. It's like replay doesn't necessarily make things better.
And I think that's the language
the rules have to be better. You have to make the rules more concise and clearer.
Yes.
That's to me the issue in all of sports. The rules have to be better.
Yeah.
Well, it's like the catch rule in football. Like, nobody actually knows what a catch even is anymore. They've made the rule so complicated. MLB adds these little changes and tweaks and all this for player safety, which I can appreciate, but you've got to make it simple to interpret and enforce. You can't be requiring this guy to get a protractor out to figure out at what angle his leg is pointing when he's got 3.5 seconds to watch the play in front of him and try to make a call on a bang play.
And he's got 4 things he's looking at. He's got 3-4 other things he's looking at.
It's insane. It's insane. So, and I think you're right, Sean. I think people think replay is like this great catch-all, but sure it is. But at the same time, like, you just got to make the rule easier to figure out.
Replay is meant to fix those calls that are so egregious. Like what was it? The 80-something Royals and Cardinals when they ended the series. The guy was out by like a step and a half, and they banged him safe, or whatever it was. Right? Like replay's meant for that.
Armando Gallo losing a perfect game.
Yes.
There we go. Right? Like you go to replay, it's so clear and obvious that he was safe or he was out. Bang! It's done in 20 seconds. It's not meant to be frame by frame, slowed down, look at it 75 different ways. In football, tried to do that when they put like a clock on replay, and they were like, all right, if we can't get an answer in the next, in the first 30 seconds, then the call stands. And but it never worked that way.
No.
Right? Like it needs to be clear and egregious and so wrong. And if you can't figure out within 15 seconds that it's wrong, then the call stands. It's what it needs to be. Yeah. It's what it needs to be.
I agree.
Because we're getting out of control here with replay.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
I mean,
I agree.
It's out of control.
Yeah. All right. We will take a quick breather here, and we will fire up some trivia questions for you. So Sean has got one for us. He sent it to us earlier. So we got one for you guys. So what do you got?
Yeah, so we got, and I know we talked about it, so we don't have to necessarily drag this one on, but there's 4 players in the history of Major League Baseball, 4 players that have at least one stolen base in 4 separate decades, or 4 consecutive decades, I guess is the way the question was phrased. So 4 players that have at least one steal in 4 consecutive decades. And 3 of them are fair. I don't want to say easy. 3 of them are like, okay, that totally makes sense.
Yeah.
The 4th one, dude, the 4th one shook me. I was like, there's no way that that's true.
So right off the top, it's Henderson.
It's Ricky. Ricky's. Everyone should get Ricky. Yeah, everyone gets Ricky.
He played for 80 years and was still fast as hell. So I mean, like, it's obviously him.
That dude could still go steal 30 bases today.
Oh, no problem.
Right. Yeah.
No problem.
And then
the second one. Harrison, you got the other one. Who's the other one? Who's the second one, I should say?
So I grabbed Tim Raines because that's another guy that played forever.
Yeah.
And had a ton of steals.
And
ton of steals. Effective. Third one one that you don't necessarily look at him and go, all right, he's a stolen base guy, but middle infielder, quick, played a gajillion games in Major League Baseball, was obsessed with the American League Central, and that's Omar Vizquel, right?
Yeah.
So Omar Vizquel is the third one. Those 3 you look at and you're like, okay, I guess that makes sense. The 4th one, dude, Ted Williams.
It's crazy.
The 30s, the 40s, the 50s, and the 60s. This dude had a stolen base at least one in every decade from the 30s through the 60s.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy.
It's wild.
That is
Wild.
insane.
Yeah. Well,
When
you
I
think
saw
about it
that,
too.
I was
It's how they started their careers too. You know, like Henderson was like late 80s, so he like barely gets into that decade, and then like
Right. Oh, sure.
probably
Ted
barely
Williams
gets
was
into
1939 was his first one.
Right,
So yeah,
exactly.
his first it's it
Yeah.
has to be. No one plays for 40 years. I mean, that's just not possible.
But you think about it, like that means you got to get through 2 entire decades and touch the other
Correct.
2, which means
Yeah,
you
right.
got to play at least 22 seasons to do
Yeah.
that.
Dude, it
Crazy.
was buddy, when I saw it, when I saw
I was
that, I
like,
was like, I
wow.
gotta text you boys. Like, I
Yeah.
gotta see if you guys
That's
know.
That was
crazy.
mind-boggling.
You guys had a hard time. You guys were struggling with that
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
But there's
Yeah,
a
the
lot
Te-
of guys. I mean, there's a lot of
Ted
options.
Williams. Ted Williams took us a few minutes because that was not at all what I was thinking.
Well, it's like all 80s and 90s guys, right? And then we're like, give us the time frame, and you're like 30s to 60s. We're like
30s through
Jesus.
60s. You were like, what the
Jeez.
fuck?
Yeah,
30s through
what?
60s.
That took
All
a
right.
turn.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All
Ted
right.
Williams. That's a good one. That's I think that's going to be one of my go-tos now. One of my
That's a
go-to
great.
trivias.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
it was again it was Ricky Henderson, Omar Vizquel, Tim Raines, Ted Williams.
Tim
Those are your
Raines
4.
and Teddy Ball game. Yeah.
Crazy.
Wild.
All right. Here is the next trivia question. Which 2 players won Rookie of the Year in their sports out of the 4 major sports? Which 2 players won Rookie of the Year in their sports? They were college roommates, and one's first name is the other's last name.
What? Hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Yeah. My brain
That's a
just
lot of
exploded.
words, man. Hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Okay. So which 2
So
players?
it's not necessarily baseball. So there's other sports involved here.
Right. So which 2 players won Rookie of the Year in their sports? They were college roommates at USC. And one's first name is the other's last name.
Wow.
Ooh.
I'll give you the decade. It's the 70s. I'll even give you the 2 sports.
Yeah, I
Baseball-
was going to say, could you get it? Yeah,
Baseball and football.
baseball,
Obviously
football,
baseball.
which
Yeah.
is what I thought. Yeah.
Okay. So wow. At USC.
Jesus.
Yeah. So 74 Rookie of the Year baseball, 75 Rookie of the Year football.
74 Rookie of the Year. What position?
This probably gives it away. Center field.
So
74.
was Freddie Lynn USC?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, and
Oh,
Lynn
is it-
Swan.
is it
And
Lynn Swan?
Lynn
Yeah.
Swan. Lynn
Yep.
Swan.
Fred
Yeah.
Lynn and Lynn
Yep.
Swan.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Fred
Yep.
Lynn and Lynn Swan.
I forgot
That-
Freddie Lynn went to USC.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite trivia questions. I love that
Yeah,
one.
that's a good one.
So-
That's
That's a good one.
That is a cool one.
Once you get one though, the other ones really.
Oh,
yeah, Lynn.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Lynn Swan.
All right.
That's pretty cool.
This
I
one
got into a Twitter beef with Lynn Swan like 7 or 8 years ago, and I have no idea. Like it came out of nowhere. Like it was for no reason whatsoever. I made some like passive aggressive comment about the Steelers, and next thing you know, like I was getting blown up because like Lynn Swan was coming back at me. I was like, "Is this like the real Lynn Swan? Like this is crazy."
Yeah,
It was
I got into a
weird.
debate.
It was very weird.
I got into a debate on our Facebook page with Carl Everett, who when I
Like
actually
the real
when
Carl Everett.
when I chased it back, I'm pretty sure it's the real Carl Everett.
Oh, I love that. Yeah,
That guy was insane.
Dude,
yeah,
I've
dude, it
insane.
was weird.
dude.
You know, Lynn Swan started coming at me about like all the Super Bowls he's won. I was like, dude, all I said was the Steelers stink. Like I don't know, like it was just so it was like a nothing comment. Like it,
That's fun.
I don't know why it became a thing, but
That's great.
Lynn Swan, not a Sean Bogue fan.
All I can picture is like Lynn Swan's house. He's got a picture of you like in his like trophy room,
Yeah, dartboards.
surrounded by his trophies,
Just
firing darts at it.
dartboard.
This friggin'
That's
kid from
funny.
Massachusetts, man, I'll show him.
He doesn't know shit.
Yeah.
It was weird. It was
Oh
weird.
man.
Oh God.
All right. Next one here. Which 2 players have the most RBI seasons in their
Most
careers?
100 RBI seasons. Okay.
Most 100 RBI seasons. We've
Canseco?
watched. Nope. We have
Trout.
watched both these guys play. Not Trout.
Oh yeah, of
boy.
course not Trout. Of course
Yeah.
we just spent,
Yeah.
we spent 45 minutes talking about how Trout will never get 100 RBIs. A-Rod?
A-Rod is one.
Are they consecutive or just total?
There's total.
Juan Gonzalez.
Nope. Well, if it was before the All-Star break, then yes, but no.
Yeah, right. Fair.
So A-Rod's. You said we watched both play.
And one just recently retired, last few years.
Oh, Pujols.
Ortiz.
Pujols.
Yep.
14 seasons of 100 RBIs.
Holy crap! And Trout's
Okay.
got 3. Trout's got
Yeah.
3.
Trout's got 3. All right.
As a reference.
I can't believe I said Trout. That was so dumb.
It happens, man. It's all good.
That was so
All right.
fun.
This is the last
If
one.
the question was who should have the most 100 RBI seasons,
Who should have?
you're
Yeah,
100%
that's
right.
Yeah. All right. Here is my last one. Who was the oldest player to ever record
Ooh.
an RBI?
Julio Franco has to be.
No, it's not.
Really?
Someone's got him beat by 6 months. Julio Franco
Lord.
retired when he was 48.
Nelson Cruz.
Did we watch him?
No. Yes, we definitely watched him.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Vizquel?
Mm-mm. You're on the wrong side of the ball.
Oh, Greg Maddux.
No, not Maddox.
Charlie Huff.
Not Charlie Huff. That's a good guess. Not Huff.
I know, because he was older than dirt when he retired. Oh, man.
The oldest
Come on.
player to ever record an RBI. And you said, what,
Nolan.
49, 48,
Nolan.
49?
49. Not Nolan Ryan.
Oh, he was in the American League when he retired.
Lefty.
Rich Hill.
No, not Dick Mountain.
Fuck, man. I don't know.
This guy could barely break a pane of glass.
Oh, Jamie Moyer.
Moyer.
Definitely
Yeah.
Jamie
Yeah.
Moyer.
We
Definitely
both go,
Jamie
boom,
Moyer.
Jamie Moyer.
Yeah.
Jamie Moyer.
Jamie Moyer against the Diamondbacks. He was 49.
Did you see that old commercial of him where he has the radar gun in kilometers per hour?
Yeah,
And
he's-
he's pitching in the bullpen. It's like 96. The guys are like, "What are you guys talking about?" Jamie got this new radar gun. He got it in France. He loves it, and he's throwing like 96 kilometers per hour.
Yeah, it's so great. All right, we're going to wrap up some other news from around the league here. May the 4th was yesterday, and if you have not seen Gunnar Henderson's bat that he had for May the 4th, it was awesome. Looked just like a lightsaber. It
It was pretty sweet.
The red on one side, the blue on the other. It was just really cool. I love when the players do like the theme stuff like that. Like, was it the Little League Classic last year when Bryson Stott had the number 2 pencil?
Yeah.
Just stuff like that's like really cool. I love that stuff. But all right, kind of another debate topic here, but I don't think there's much debate. But Pete Crow Armstrong hits a double off the wall. Was it yesterday, day before? I can't remember. But he's like four strides away from second base. He removes his helmet, overruns or overslides second base, and then puts his helmet on second base, and they call him safe. Now, I didn't think that was legal. That would be just like me running down the first baseline with my bat and like sticking it out and getting 36 inches to like touch first base and have me be safe.
Right.
Like, and he's not laying his helmet on his head on the base. That's
Oh
he's
no,
holding
no,
it.
he was.
Take
He was.
it
If
off.
you didn't see it, he very clearly overslid the bag, helmet in the hand, and he held the helmet on the bag while he's like a foot and a half, 2 feet over the bag.
Yeah.
Like it was. I can't imagine a world in which that is allowed. That's crazy.
Yeah,
So
I don't
so
get it.
Yeah, so the way the rule reads, it's just like when a guy touches first base with like his glove. You know, the ball's in the glove and he touches with his glove only. Like his physical person doesn't make contact.
But the ball has to be in the glove. If I have the ball in my throwing hand and I touch the glove, he's not out.
It's still a force out.
Like, No,
For
it's
force-
not. If
It is
I'm
for a
holding
force out, yes.
For a force out, it is, yes.
It is.
It's just like when you put
Okay.
your foot on the base and catch the ball in the glove.
I can't
Okay.
tag you with an empty glove.
Right.
Right.
Exactly.
Okay, force
exactly.
out. Right, force out. Gotcha.
So
force out.
the way
Gotcha.
the way the rule reads, because this one blew my mind too. The equipment becomes an extension of the player. So in theory, as long as he is in control of the helmet, he can use it, just like a player can use their glove as an extension of their body to touch the base on a forced out.
So in theory, Nick could run to first and touch first base with the bat, and that's an extension, and he's safe.
Well, the bat is not considered a piece of like player apparel equipment. It's considered it would be like, and there's really no example that you could match a bat to, but the bat is designed to is used for a particular thing and then dropped and set down. So it's not something that you would wear with you. Like you wear the glove, you wear the helmet. So it's not an extension of you because it's not actually something that is on your person.
So I'm going up the bat with a stick in my back pocket then from now on. And when I'm running down the first baseline, I'm taking it out, and that's player equipment. I'm wearing it.
I'm going to pull a broomstick out of my back like it's a light. I mean, no, it's the helmet, the glove, they're considered a piece of the apparel that you wear.
Right.
So therefore it becomes an extension of your body. Now
That's the dumbest shit of all time.
Well, I didn't think you could
remove
it
off on purpose.
He took I didn't think you could actually remove it. Right. So I didn't think you could actually remove it, but the rule doesn't say you can't. And I think that's the problem here, is that it's not that you can, it's just that it doesn't say you can't. Because in theory, if you slide in, like your hands go wide and your head hits the base, your helmet would count as contact.
Correct.
I don't think they ever wrote I don't think they ever wrote the rule thinking somebody would take the helmet off and touch the base with it. But I have a sense there's going to be like some kind of a memo that comes out that corrects that, because I can't imagine that was the intent of the rule. But the way the rule is written, it doesn't say you can't.
Because if that's the case, dude, I'm stealing every base with my helmet in my hand.
I'm just going to slide out. I'm
like
dying
legit,
with a helmet.
That gets you a foot closer to the bag every single time.
Yeah, so I have to imagine MLB is going to send a memo out to the umpires letting them know that's not how the rule was meant to be interpreted.
So let's add something else to the umpires.
Exactly.
You know, and I mean, this one's an easy, like this one's
it's
an
a
easy
dumb
one,
loophole.
But by principle, let's just add something to the list of these guys to watch out for, and then we're going to shit on them for being so bad.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know. It was just odd because it looked like he did it on purpose.
But he
it's
also
a dumb
didn't
loophole.
need to. He also didn't need to. He would have been safe by 2 seconds if he just slid in regularly.
Right.
Or went in standing up.
Yeah, it was weird.
Yeah. It was just kind of dumb. Like it was just one of those really dumb things. But I have to imagine they're going to fix it and let people know that was not how it was meant to be interpreted. But I when I saw it, I'm like, you can't do that. And then I looked up, I'm like, actually, it doesn't say you can't.
It's weird, man. So,
and that's what the umpires are arguing.
It goes back to what we were kind of talking about last week with the gloves, the oven mitts. Like, if you're allowing those, like, I'm going to put an extra 6 inches on the end of my oven mitts, you know, just to give me that extra advantage. Like, I don't know. Removing the helmet off from where it's supposed to be worn is weird to me, but
it is weird.
I'm sure they will fix it. Just like you said, I think they'll send a memo and be like, yeah, let's not do that again. It was cool, but let's not do it again.
But, you know, people used to argue that Ricky Henderson used to run with his batting gloves in his hands because he could use them like an extra point of contact as he slid in. People always thought he did that as a way to get like a better extension. I don't know how much that actually was true or even worked, but Ricky Henderson. Yeah, but I mean, why would you run with your batting gloves in your hands versus in your pocket? The thought was he used that as a way to be able to reach further. I don't know, but if there's an angle that could be played, Ricky Henderson would have figured it out. That's for sure.
Yeah. It was just odd. I just had never obviously seen it, and I was like, he's got to be out. I was like, how did they get this?
I don't think we've ever seen it before. I don't think I've ever seen I can think of a situation, and I want to say it was either Fox or one of the other networks was like, we can't find any like example of this happening before, where a player actually took the helmet off and used it to maintain contact with the base.
Weird.
Bizarre. On purpose.
right, on purpose.
Like he took it like on purpose. Like that's the part that I have a hard time getting over.
Right.
Like if you watch the replay, he was running to second and he took the helmet off. Like it was like he knew it was gonna happen. It was very weird. It was so very, very weird.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. There's absolutely no need for it, but it certainly got a reaction.
yeah. All right, so I turn on my nightly Diamondbacks game because I like to follow the Diamondbacks, and they have a delay in the start of their game, and I'm like, well, what the heck's going on? They have a bee delay where a swarm
This is
of
in
bees.
Arizona.
This is
not
in
LA.
Arizona.
This is in
right.
Arizona. Yep.
Yeah, in Phoenix. There is a swarm like on the net, like above, right behind home plate.
Huge.
Big swarm.
Massive.
Yeah. And I'm like, all right, this is the first time I've ever seen a bee delay. But it was a 2-hour delay because I had to call a bee expert to come in. And this guy was just absolutely just took up the limelight. As he's spraying, as he's
amazing.
He's spraying the bees, and the stadium's playing I Need a Hero as he's spraying the bees. And yeah, and he's vacuuming up. Like the whole thing was just awesome. And then he goes out and throws the first pitch, and like he walks out with his beekeeper hood on, unzips it, flips it off, and the crowd goes berserk. They just go bananas. And it was awesome. It was just really cool, that whole situation.
And after he'd vacuumed all he's coming down the scissor lift after vacuuming all the bees, and he's like getting the crowd pumped up. They're all amped and screaming, and now he's gonna have his own baseball card. They're gonna make a baseball card for him in this year's set. I've never seen a guy get more runway out of a weird situation than this guy is ever gonna get.
It was so cool. But I was like, a bee delay. I was like, what the heck, man? But it was a big swarm.
We've seen some weird stuff. I can't remember ever seeing a bee delay.
No.
I mean, you go to Arizona, you don't worry about the bees. You worry about like all the other crap that's going to bite you. You don't worry about bees.
Yeah, crazy. And then the last thing I have tonight is Alek Manoah finally made his way back up to the big league.
Yeah.
And it did not go well.
Woo.
4 innings, 7 runs, 6 hits, 4 walks, 6 Ks. So he did have a K. He had 6 Ks in 4 innings, but he also gave up 7 runs.
The guy was getting lit up at single A.
4 walks.
Yeah, 4 walks. It's not what you're looking for.
No.
Is he? Are we ever going to see Cy Young Alek Manoah again?
No, I don't think so. No, I think it's no. Oh my God, what a move! Oh,
it's
sorry. Yeah,
it's
no, I don't think so.
It's too bad because he was crazy dominant that year he had.
Yeah, the 1 year. Yeah,
that 1 year. But it's good.
I mean, literally, they put the pitch clock in, and the dude fell apart. And I'm not saying it was necessarily the pitch clock. I don't think it helped because he was a guy who just isn't used to working fast. He cannot work fast. He's also not built to work fast. But I mean, he just like his season last year just went off the rails fast, and it never came back. And then he was back at spring training, just trying to like throw strikes again and couldn't. And then he was getting lit up at single A in April. I mean, the guy, whatever it is, he's lost it, like completely lost it.
Yeah, it's not good. It's not good.
It's tough.
That leaves a massive hole in that Blue Jays rotation if he's never coming back.
Yeah, but I think they've kind of planned around it anyways. I think they were kind of hoping to get him back to be a shell of his former self just to, help out with that rotation. But, I mean, I don't know. That rotation should be better than they are, too.
Barrios has been awesome, though.
Yes,
he has been amazing.
Legit. Barrios has been great.
But, I mean, you got Gosman in there. You got Bassett in there. Like, I mean, I think they were hoping that they could get a shell of Manoah back, but I don't know if they're going.
We've been saying that about the Blue Jays for like 4 years. They should be better than they are every single season. It's like it's the call of the Blue Jays.
Yeah, it's odd for sure. But all right, that's all I had for this week. Was there anything else that you guys saw that you want to add?
I got some goodies for you.
I didn't. Yeah, I did. I was gonna say Harrison, I'm sure does. No, I didn't have much. I just Bruins are moving on, baby. That was something, man. That was something.
Sweating out.
So, Harrison,
they could not go in the first round again. That would have been
not to the Leafs. And baseball podcast, I get it. People are like, why are we talking hockey? Just give me 30 seconds of hockey time here. I could not stomach the Bruins losing to the Leafs. They're probably going to get fucking shit pumped by Florida. Like, Florida's really, really good. They have the Bruins number. They have a playoff roster. The Bruins, I think, have holes in there, whatever. You can't lose to the Leafs. And they beat the Leafs. It's whatever. Man, go out in 5 to Florida, and it's fine. It's a bridge year. We weren't supposed to win the Cup this year. You know, young talent getting better, all this, that, and the other. Can't lose to the Leafs. And they didn't, so I'm happy. So I'm done.
All right. All right, so there's a big milestone this past week, Nick. I'm surprised you didn't want to talk about it because it was your favorite guy, Shohei Ohtani. So he's now the all-time leading Dodger when it comes to home runs hit by a Japanese-born player. And he beat his old manager, Dave Roberts, who had set the record at 7. So
wait, Dave Roberts was born in Japan?
Apparently. So I had no idea. I mean,
I didn't know that.
He's got this Japanese descent. So the joke was he bought Joe Kelly's wife a Porsche. Was Dave Roberts going to get a Porsche? And sure enough, he came in, on his desk was a purple toy Porsche that Shohei had left for him for breaking his home run record.
Oh, that's funny.
That is funny.
So they asked Shohei today, will you buy the manager a Porsche? He goes, we win the World Series, I'll think about it. Funny, he said that without an interpreter. But anyways.
Moving on.
Yeah.
Ben Verlander's going to come for you. Ben Verlander's going to come for you, Harrison.
Yeah. He's eating that Fox Sports line. Anyways, so so I all week that's been the talk of like a couple of the stations is the fact that Shohei Ohtani is going to break this record. Literally, the record's 7 home runs. It's embarrassing. This is a headline. Anyways, other one, your boy Paul Skeens, Nick. He gave up his first home run today. He got taken out of the yard, and he gave up. I think it was. I know, yeah, dude, overrated. He gave up his first home run. He gave up, I think, 2 runs in the start. He was pitching on 4 days rest. He said it was a lesson learned. He's got to prepare differently when he's on short rest.
He'll be selling insurance by the end of the year.
I mean, yeah, they only won 8-3. He gave up 2 runs. One of them was a home run. First one he's given up all season, but clearly the struggle's real.
But they probably put him on short rest on purpose to see what he would do, and he's going to be up in the next 2 or 3 weeks, man. I don't see him sitting down there for much longer. I really don't.
His ERA jumped all the way up to 0.99 on the season after giving up the 2 runs today. So it's the struggle is real.
Yeah.
And then lastly, I'm not sure if anybody saw the final today, but the Los Angeles Dodgers went into it, or didn't go into, had Atlanta come to town and swept them, swept them pretty convincingly in that series. And the Dodgers had kind of started off well, kind of got a little wonky there for a week or two. They kind of fell almost to 500. They've taken off again. The pitching's still not great, but they are absolutely mashing the baseball.
Well,
and Shohei is crushing everything he can touch.
Yeah.
I mean, the pitcher may not be great as a roster. I mean, as a rotation, I should say.
Fair.
But Yamamoto, man, you guys remember back a few weeks ago when he got shelled in his first couple, and I was Mr. Yamamoto here, and I was like, he's going to figure it out. He has been dominant his last 3 starts. I mean, dominant.
Yeah.
The swing and miss stuff that he's had the last 2 starts have been insane.
Yeah, and he didn't have that in the first few. I mean, he was a lot of balls getting barreled.
It looks like he's starting to figure it out here.
Yeah.
And it's like this could be scary.
So to piggyback on that, on Sunday Night Baseball when the Cubs and the Red Sox were playing, they interviewed Shota Imanaga, and they asked him. They go like, "How have you been so dominant this early to come over?" And he goes, "These teams haven't seen me yet. Like the real test is when I pitch against them the second, the third time." He's like, "That's the real test." He's like, "Am I dominant now?" Yeah, because they haven't seen me. But when they see me a second and third time, like then we'll have more. And I never really even like thought about that. Like, yeah, he's pitching really, really well. Like he's been phenomenal. But like when he sees a lineup for that 7th, 8th, 9th time, that's when we're really going to see what these guys have.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, We
For
and
sure.
we witnessed that as Red Sox fans with Daisuke. Like he had a
We did,
he,
yeah.
he started out great, and then he had some some segments where he struggled. Teams
think
adjusted to
you
him,
know,
and he had to adjust back, and it's different. I mean, Daisuke, clearly not Yamamoto's stuff, and Imanaga stuff is like next level. Like their stuff is good enough to be at this level. They have to learn how to approach this kind of lineup because they've never seen it before.
Right.
yeah, I mean, we've talked about it, and not to beat a dead horse with it, but over in Japan, it's just a different mindset. They pitch away from contact. They have no like 3-2 counts over there are just so prevalent. Like every at bat's a 3-2 at bat. Like walks don't matter, strikeouts matter. Like it's entirely different than over here about attacking guys, first pitch strikes, that kind of thing. And I think with Daisuke, he had a hard time wrapping his head around the new approach. Whereas it doesn't look like Imanaga's having a hard time with the approach. It looked like Yamamoto maybe was hesitant at first, but these guys are pounding the strike zone right now. Pounding the strike zone.
Yep.
Yeah.
And they're throwing strikes with every pitch they have, and the swing and miss stuff is there. So it's like I don't know what more. It just, I guess if you're on offense, you're just like, okay, well, find a way to barrel it up. But how do you barrel it up? The stuff is so good.
Right.
I think
the stuff is so good.
Yeah. It also helps when you do have a lineup like the Dodgers. I mean, the Cubs are putting up runs too. Like, I can go in my start, I can make 2 or 3 mistakes, and I'm going to be okay because my team's going to bail me out. Where like there's other guys.
But let's not act like Daisuke, was pitching for the 2022 A's. I mean, the Daisuke's lineup when Daisuke was in Boston, his lineup would give these Dodgers and Cubs a run for their money, and they were probably, if you put all 3 together, they were probably either 1A or 1B with the Dodgers.
Yeah,
I mean Daisuke's Red Sox lineups were gross. Like Daisuke had no excuse. He just couldn't figure it out. Like he just didn't like the idea of pitching to contact. He was. And hitters over here are just way too comfortable with taking walks. Whatever, man. You want to throw me a 2-0 slider on the outside corner? Why would I swing at that? Like, why would I? Fine. Right. Throw it. Like, I'm never going to swing at that pitch.
Yep.
Like, he couldn't figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas I feel like these guys now, and even Kodai Senga when he's healthy, and I know he's hurt right now, but even he has done a better job of coming over here and kind of embracing what it's like in this league versus what it's like in Japan. Like, I know he's got that splitter, right? But he throws strikes.
Yeah.
Hit the ball. Like, we're going to throw it. You got to hit it. And then we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, we saw a number of Japanese players come over, they're kind of in that first wave back in the, kind of 90s, 2000s. You saw a guy like, Nomo explodes on the scene. And then after a couple good seasons, he really struggled to maintain that same level because he couldn't adjust. Daisuke couldn't adjust. Hideki Arabu couldn't adjust. A lot of these guys came over and they just couldn't. They'd have a good season or two, and then once the league caught up to them, they couldn't adjust to that. And then a lot of them just either struggled or fizzled out. I think having seen those guys in the past do that helps these guys know what not to do. But I do feel like when you look at Yamamoto stuff, Imanaga stuff, even Senga stuff, like, I think their stuff is better, so they can get away with a little bit more. But it is still an adjustment, to your point, Sean, of coming over here and facing this level of hitter, because this level of hitter is not in Japan. The approach is much different. The on base thing is much different. These guys are happy to load the bases on walks and then kill you with a ball in the gap. They don't have to kill you with every at bat, but they will get you. And you just have to adjust to that. And some of these guys just don't. And I think you saw Yamamoto come out of the gate trying to adjust to it. He had a bad spring. He had a bad first half of April, first 3 starts. The last couple starts have been really good. As he started to
insane right now, dude.
Get comfortable.
He is, and I'm not. I am prone to exaggeration. I know your strengths. I know who I am. I am prone to exaggeration. This guy right now, for my money, is must-watch TV. Like when Yamamoto's pitching, it's like where he's at right now. The way he's throwing is like you got to tune in and watch him. He is mowing through guys with ease. with ease. It's crazy.
Yeah,
I mean, my mindset as a pitcher, though, like I said, like if I know I got bets Shohei and Freeman to come up and bail me out in the first inning and give me a 3-0
Oh,
lead or
no
whatever,
question.
like, I can wrap my head and just be like, oh, I just got to throw strikes here. Like I don't have to make a perfect pitch. I can just attack these guys straight away, and not to like bang on the Rockies or anything like that. But like you leave one down the middle and it's 1-0, it's game over for the Rockies, you know, or a team like that, like because they just don't have the offensive power, you know, firepower to come back and get them the lead.
But so that leads me to my next conversation, which is, you know, Yamamoto just dominated the Diamondbacks a few days ago.
Yeah.
What is happening?
5 hits,
to the
but
Diamondbacks?
scattered them.
Yeah.
Scattered the 5 hits.
What is going on with the Diamondbacks? That they've lost 7 of their last 10. They are absolutely just backpedaling right now. And this is a team that, I mean, Corbin Carroll's hitting 8th, I think, right now. He's hitting just barely over 200. That team is, they reloaded in the offseason. And I know they don't have everybody back right now, but they look lost out there. Almost similar to the Astros in a way where they just can't seem to get anything going night after night.
They're getting decent starts out of their starting pitching for the most part. It's their bullpen that's a little shaky. Like all of them are kind of like, they're all like Jonathan Papelbons. They're like walking guys. They're getting them on. They're all heart attack innings. Like none of them are
like
clean.
You don't have that one guy. You don't have that one guy.
Yeah. No, Paul Sewald still's not back. He's coming back at some. He might be that actually.
Soon.
Now
He should be soon. No, I think he's soon, isn't he?
It's really soon if he's not back already. Erod, I don't know the status on him yet, but I don't know, man. I mean, Ketel Marte is hitting ridiculous. That dude had like 3-4 hit games last week, I think, and hit another bomb today. Ketel Marte is there. Christian Walker is streaky with a power. I think he only got 2 bombs. It's the same thing. That's what happens with Suarez too. You add Suarez for that pop.
Too many Ks.
He's only got 2 home runs. Lourdes was crazy hot at the beginning of the season. He's cooled off a little bit. And like you said, Corbin Carroll's now hitting out of the 7-8 hole because he just got over the Mendoza line. Pitchers are starting to learn how to throw to him. He's very vulnerable to the up and in fastball. He just can't lay off it, and he can't touch it. Which, I mean, I think other than a changeup low and away, the high and in fastball, no one's hitting that. That's the toughest pitch to hit.
Yeah, no question.
Yeah, but pitchers are, I mean, I saw him go down on 3 pitches, same spot, up and in, up and in, up and in, threw him a chair. I don't know, man. Like, they're still a good team. They're going to figure it out. They do have some new guys in there, so they're still trying to figure it out. But Perdomo going down, I said this a few weeks ago. I'll say it again. Perdomo was a huge, huge catalyst in that lineup to get to the 9th spot, get on base. He's fast and just roll over the top of the lineup for Carroll, Marte, and Walker. Without him, it's tough.
Yeah, and the hard thing with the Diamondbacks is we talked about it 2 weeks ago, because obviously I wasn't on last week, but 2 weeks ago we were saying, well, it's not that big a deal because no one's running away with the division, so it's like you're right there. The Dodgers are starting to kind of make a run here, and it's early. I mean, it's May 5th, right? So it's definitely early, but I mean, you're 5 games under 500, you're 7.5 back. Like, you got to make a push here. Yeah. Like, you got to start winning some games. You got to start winning some series. You can't just 1 out of 3 is not good enough at this point. Like, you got to start winning some series. And that's got to be the struggle. If you're Arizona, it's like, okay, we are figuring it out. Like, we have faith in our guys. It's a long season. I'm not writing anyone off by any means, but where you're at right now, it's like, we thought we went to the World Series last year. We thought we were going to be challenging for the division, and here we are, May 5th, 7.5 games back. We don't really have a footing. It's got to be uncomfortable. It's got to be uncomfortable.
Their lineup is crazy inconsistent, and I mean it by like last year, every time, no matter where they were in the lineup, you're like, they're going to score a run this inning. Yeah. With them this year, they either score 4+ runs in an inning and don't score for the rest of the game, or they just don't score. Like they were like leading the majors for first inning runs for like a crap ton of time, but they didn't score the rest of the game. So like they get 4 in the first, and then the other team just chips, and then all of a sudden you're down 5-4, and your bullpen can't get you back into the game. So I think that's kind of like where their issues are right now. But they're gonna be fine when everybody gets back. They'll be okay. Blaze Alexander has been a huge find for them. That kid's really good. If you haven't seen him play, he's electric. He's awesome. And Ketel Marte, man, he's easily my favorite player to watch right now. That guy never has a bad at bat. He's so good.
I love that guy. He was my pick last year for MVP, NL MVP. I think I was a year off, maybe.
Yeah.
I freaking love this kid, man.
Yeah.
The at bats he puts up, the way he plays. I mean, he's Pedroia defensively. I mean, his jersey's always dirty. He's a dog. He's a dog. And it's like you need dogs. Yeah. Like if you want to win championship, like you need dogs, and he's a dog. Yeah. I love that guy. Love that guy.
As good as Gabby Moreno is behind the plate, the kid's got an absolute cannon. He's kind of struggling with the stick right now too. So he is. They're starting to learn his tendencies, so he has to make an adjustment. But I think they will. Torey Lovello is an outstanding manager. They got some great coaches on that team. They're gonna be fine. That's a tough ass division, man. All the stars in the MLB are on the NL West.
Right.
I mean, legit.
It's tough.
So
all right, I got a couple more quick hitters for you. So Minnesota Twins finally lost today, breaking a 12-game winning streak. After winning 12 games in a row, they're still 2.5 games behind the Guardians.
That
tells you how bad of a start they got off to, dude. I mean, we were.
That's how good the Guardians have been.
Yeah,
it's both.
But,
it's both.
Yes, it's true, but it's more to me. That says more about how bad Minnie was for the first month.
Yeah,
I mean it's both. Yeah,
they were horrendous, but yeah. So they win 12 in a row. They're now in second place, basically, nearly a virtual tie with the Kansas City Royals. But yeah, they finally lost.
Who's your Royals, Harrison? Say it loud.
My
say it
Royals.
Proud, baby.
Sorry. Yes, my Royals.
Say it loud,
my
say
Royals.
It proud.
Yeah, I'm with you. They've lost 2 in a row, but they're good. They're fine. Your best record in baseball right now, it's the Orioles and the Phillies tied. The Phillies just lost Trey Turner, which looks like that could be at a minimum a couple of weeks to a hamstring strain. They're afraid it's going to be longer.
I think they said 4 to 6. I got a report.
Oh, do they think? Okay.
I saw.
Yeah, they put him on the 10-day IL, hoping that it wouldn't be as bad as they thought. But yeah, so you're losing Trey Turner, who is off to a blazing start, is going to hurt. But they are now.
Is that Pavelski?
I don't know.
Fuck. Sorry, guys. Sorry. I had a bet on Pavelski anytime goal. Sorry.
Oh, nice. So yeah, so Orioles and Phillies tied for the best record, and we're going to check in our Chicago White Sox, who are tied with the Rockies for the worst record in baseball, because they've actually won a couple of games in a row. But they finally scored 100 runs. Congratulations to them, and they're minus 82.
Minus 80. So the Marlins. Yep. The Marlins are above them?
The Marlins are at 10 and 26.
Yeah. So I was with my with my brothers today. We played a little golf, had a little lunch, and Pat was like, "I'm going out to Denver, for business, whatever, like next week," I think he said. And he's like, the Rockies, just the 3 days he's out there, have like a 3-day, like they're on the road before, they have 3 home games, and then they're on the road. It's like perfect timing. Oh. So he's like, I think I'm going to try to go to a Rockies game. I can't remember who they were playing. And
I hope it's a Marlins.
Pat's a baseball guy, but he's not like fully into it the way that we are. Like right now, he's got 2 kids and all that stuff. But he's like, the Rockies like aren't good, right? I was like, no, dude, the Rockies stink this year, man. Like you could probably get tickets for like $4. Like the Rockies are not good, dude.
Yeah.
They stink. They are, and they're not just. Not only do they stink, they're not fun to watch.
No, it's
like
really
they're not a team. It's not like it's a team that's like, oh, they score a lot of runs, but they give up a lot of runs, so it's fun games. Those games are boring.
There's one kid on that team that I will tune in to watch. It's Ezekiel Tovar, and that's he's the only one.
Yeah, that's fair.
But they're tough. They're tough.
There's 2 teams in baseball that have given up 200 runs or more. The Marlins have given up 205, and the Rockies have given up 200.
Oh,
yeah.
They stink.
That's so many runs, dude. It's May 5th.
Well,
Yeah.
also when you're
Like
pinch
get
running
it
your
out. Mix in and out every now and again. Like 200 runs is so many runs, man.
I mean, when you're pinch
Wow.
when you're pinch running your ace and he breaks his arm going into home plate, that's also
so
like
Rockies. That's so Rockies.
Yeah,
brutal.
it's bad. But
yeah.
yeah, so the White Sox are still bad, but they're right there with the Rockies. So the battle for the worst continues.
Man, is there anybody else on that Marlins roster that you expect to be moved? Is there anybody else?
Ooh, I mean,
worth
they got some
moving?
pitchers. They got some pitchers that teams will call about. Whether they move or
Yeah.
not, I don't know.
Yeah.
But they got
I mean,
pitchers that people will call for.
You got Nick Gordon that people think highly of. I mean, Jazz Chisholm,
Yeah.
but I don't think anybody really wants him.
He was the only one that's
'cause
going to be selling tickets there too.
He's kind of a headache. Brian De La Cruz is a nice little ball player. But
Right team, he's got to go to the
I don't
right
know.
team. But yeah,
but otherwise, I mean, I don't look at that lineup and go, yeah, there's a guy people should be targeting. Like, I just don't see it. And they've got a couple of young arms that are hurt. So it's, in terms of health, you don't have a lot to deal with there either.
Yeah. Be interesting to see what the White Sox do. If they do anything, or if they just literally tread water for the entire season and not ship anybody out.
I just don't think anybody over there cares. I don't think the ownership cares. I don't think the front office cares. I just think they're going to ride it out. And there's nothing in the minors. So
I mean,
you've got nothing coming.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just looking quickly just at the roster here for Miami, the 40-man, right? I mean, Alcantara's hurt, but I look at a guy like Edward Cabrera, 26 years old. He's got good stuff. I could see him being someone people call about. Someone from the bullpen, Andrew Nardi. Andrew Nardi is a lefty that, gets guys out left and right. Like I could see Andrew Nardi being someone that, if a team is one, we need a left-handed relief in the bullpen. I could see that. I don't love their roster though. Like I just looking at it quick, like
Yeah, it's tough.
I'm not looking at the roster being like, oh, this is 4, 5, 6 guys that people want.
Nope.
Yeah. Jake
You know
Berger.
what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, he's 28, 29 years old. I mean,
Their strikeout leader is Ryan Weathers. I mean, here's
right. Well, that tells you all you need to know.
Right.
Yeah.
Here's a lefty with a near 5 ERA. That's
right.
I mean, you're not dealing from a position of strength here at the Marlins. You ain't got much to offer.
Yeah.
And the few players that are any good are still young enough that you're going to want to keep them. Like they're under control.
Yeah.
Right. Like I said, I mean, I see, Nardi is 25. Sorry, he's young. 25 guy. 25 years old. Like I could see you getting a decent haul for Andrew Nardi. All right, let's pull the trigger. Edward Cabrera is 26. Like you get a decent haul for him. Like, okay, fine. But other than that, man, like they're just not good.
Yeah.
No, there's not a lot going on there.
Yeah.
It's not good.
All right. Anything else tonight, fellas?
Nah, man. Bit of a ramble there at the end.
Yeah. It's all good. It happens.
All good.
All right. So we will be back on next Monday. It'll probably be just me and Sean next Monday because Harrison, like I said, is going on a little 2-week vacation, which is pretty cool. But so we'll be back on next Monday. But before you go, please like and follow us on Facebook. You can also follow us on Instagram. You can also subscribe on YouTube. Can also listen on Spotify and Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. And thanks for the support. Thanks for commenting on our reels and everything like that. It means a lot to us. And we will see you guys next